Hello, TBR Nation. This is Amber Kim from the Perfect RIA. Thank you for joining me on today's Follow-Up Friday, where I'll be covering the highlights and action items from this week's episodes. On Monday, Matt and Micah were talking about prospecting after they received a message from a listener who shared that prospecting was really hard, as in soul-crushing hard. They said that a lot of this really comes down to setting expectations. He said you already do this in other areas, from clients to teams and even with your family, but you also need to set those internal expectations. So the guys agree that prospecting is incredibly difficult, but there are ways to make it easier and less emotionally painful. But that people have been brainwashed to think that it'll be easy, and that advisors think that as soon as they get their CFP, that clients are just going to flock to them. Micah said after you get your education, you need to actually do something in order to turn that education into action, which is helping clients, and that is risking a no. That's the big distinction. They said that if you're not risking a no, you're not risking rejection, then you're not prospecting. They said that's the driver of almost all reasons for playing office. You do all these other things, and you just hope clients are going to come flooding in. But you aren't getting out there and risking a no, and you're not willing to take the risk to transform someone's life. Matt said people also tend to look for outliers. Then you can look at someone who's doing something successful and you think you can easily do the same. But you don't see the reps and the work that they put in to get to where they are, and also what they did to build that foundation. The guys then talked about marketing activities versus advertising activities. Micah shared that marketing activities are the things that you're going to do, which you're expecting a direct ROI on. And now with advertising, if you're sponsoring an event or you're putting your logo somewhere, that would be advertising because you're not doing something where you're risking a no. The guy said having a social media strategy really falls under advertising because you're not always tracking where this leads to clients. And another trap advisors fall into is thinking that they need a fancy website. Same thing with deciding that you need to rebrand. Matt said that if he's not risking a no, or if he can't directly track the results, it's playing office. Matt and Micah said, find someone who has a strategy that works and who is a practice that you want or some element of their practice that you want, and do what they do. They said it boils down to finding a system that really works for a real advisor who actually meets with clients. And when you're trying something new, a key part to this is making sure that you have an expectation of what success means. So you could think that something is a good idea, and then it turns out that your audience doesn't think it's a good idea. If that's the case, you need to stop it. But you need to have that success criteria planned out before you do it. Now, if you're brand new to an area and you want to grow your business as quickly as possible, they said the most effective thing is going to be your time spent doing prospecting and marketing events. So go for referrals and centers of influence. Put on and teach classes, and then look for the online world to see where you can build that online community to get clients coming in. But understand that this all takes time. Matt said it took him 2 years before he got his first referral from a center of influence. But he told himself that each time he met with someone, it was a practice session. So there were never any failed sessions. Same thing if you're teaching a class and only one person shows up. Well, then you have one person to practice with. And you also know that you need to do more to fill that room. But they said it's about hacking your mindset that you're always going to win and that it's going to take a lot of practice. Micah said that it's a lot of effort and energy that goes into this, and you need to track it. So make sure you include a time element for what you're doing as well. And what's an acceptable amount of time that you should see a return? He also said look at other advisors who are maybe not in your community, but they're similar size, similar demographic, and see what they're doing and what's working. You want to make sure that you're doing a strategy that's going to work for the practice that you want. And Matt said that there are no easy paths. He said there's always a fear when you're prospecting and marketing and advertising, whatever that you're doing, that you're going in the wrong direction. And they said you can put reps in the wrong direction. That's why it's so powerful to be around advisors who have success. You can say that you know something is a proven direction and that if you follow the course and work hard enough and long enough, you will strike gold heading in that direction. Let's get into action items. You need to have community to help and things to help you take action on. At the Perfect RIA, you can read Matt's book, Delivering Massive Value. You can take one of our courses. such as Tom Gow's course, join the Retirement Tax Summit, or join our membership programs, Backstage Pass or Invictus. But you have to actually do something and take advantage of what's available to you and have someone hold you accountable so that you can take things to the next level. Count how many real prospecting and marketing attempts are you taking? How many no's are you risking? And that includes writing down the names. So whatever prospecting or marketing attempts you're using, record it each week. And have your thank you list ready to go so that you have them available to review. They said that helps her when those times come where you get down and you hear those no's and when that head trash creeps in. On Wednesday, Matt was joined by Philip Taylor, also known as PT, and the founder of PTmoney.com and FinCon. PT said that FinCon really started as a community meetup. He said there were personal finance bloggers who met online and they talked shop in forums, and they realized that they needed their own space in their own event. So PT created the first one. And since then, he's focused on creating an event that he'd want to attend. He said FinCon isn't about him or his ideas, but about what the community wants and the ideas that could be brought together and to help others be better at what they're doing. PT said most of the community there are money experts, not necessarily marketing experts. So they can share ideas with each other and that'll help them grow a lot faster. They're focused on that abundance mindset. PT said about 20 to 25% of the attendees are financial advisors or coaches, and FinCon offers tracks where they can focus less on ads and affiliate marketing and more on converting people into clients. He said it's great for those advisors who get excited about creating content or even for team members who specialize in that. Now, you heard Matt and PT mention that I was fortunate enough to be able to attend FinCon last year, and it was an incredible experience. And as Matt shared, I had a list of questions that I would ask anyone that I met. PT shared some of his tips for financial advisors to make the most of the event. Now, this is linked in the show notes from Wednesday's episode. Some of those tips include ensuring that you're trying to meet with as many people as possible, or having a goal in mind, such as people you'd like to have on your podcast. He said it's a great place to collaborate and stand out and show your expertise. PT said he started blogging back in 2007 and he was obsessed with personal finance and was trying to fix his own financial life. So he said he needed to take ownership of his personal finance. So by reading other blogs, it helped him understand money in a different way. He would see where others were setting goals for themselves, and he started challenging himself against those benchmarks. He said seeing other people's stories helped him make progress. And then he realized that he had something to share as well, especially with being a CPA. He didn't consider himself a great writer, but he was looking at what others were doing. So he recommends that for those wanting to become a content creator, to mimic what others are doing. Not where you're copying someone, but you can see what others are writing about and share your perspective. So what started as a side hustle with the blog turned into a full-time role, and he left corporate finance, and then a year later he started FinCon. He said blogging is something that has changed his life, and he hopes that he's helped change others' lives too. He changed PT Money to Part-Time Money, which focuses more on business, entrepreneurship, and side hustling. And he said he still produces about one article a week on the site. Now, for advisors who he said may not resonate with podcasting and feel blogging could be more of their thing, PT said it's not too late. You can still have your own voice and be heard and be seen and share your perspective. Let's get into action items. PT recommended checking out Adrian Seeger at conferences that work as a resource. He said this will help you understand how conferences work, what makes them successful, and working together when in person. PT also recommends checking out Adam Infoy, who understands how to treat blogging as a startup and can help you fast track. And lastly, be sure to sign up for FinCon October 18th through 21st in New Orleans and visit the show notes for PT's guide. On Thursday, Jamie talked about fear and what is holding you back. She said whatever pivotal moment you're at, that something is holding you back. And that thing is fear. The fear of not having control and the fear of failure. She said it's keeping you from achieving greatness. Jamie said with fear and moving forward and figuring out what's holding you back, a lot of what she hears is that people think that they don't have enough experience or enough success, or they aren't sure they can do something. They could name a bunch of people who are crushing it, and Jamie said that the lie we tell ourselves is that that person must be smarter than you. But she said that isn't the case. Instead, they're just trying harder. She said there will always be people who are better and smarter and wiser, but that the successful ones are the ones who took a chance and believed in themselves and did what they could to succeed. And she said, what you see in public doesn't show everything that went on behind the scenes. Those same fears are what you likely feel, but those people decided to take action. She said it's more comfortable to be complacent instead of doing what you can to achieve greatness and pursue perfection. So you need to ask yourself, what if this works? Jamie said if you're making a bunch of plan Bs, then you're already planning for failure. And that every successful person that she knows has big fears that tag along with their big dreams. So what can you do when you start having those big dreams? Jamie said, come up with a plan. You've just got to start. Sit down and take the time to fear set and think about what are all the things that could go wrong and what are you worried about? And talk with whoever's supporting you in your life and get the appropriate feedback from that person who completely believes in you. And that's your go-to person whenever you're worried about something. And surround yourself with like-minded community of professionals. And after you fear set, then Jamie said you need to do step 1 and draw out your plan. It should be a base one where you can change it as needed, but you have to start somewhere or else you'll get nowhere. She said, put it on the calendar and break it down into sizable chunks that you can do and make sure that you have a deadline. If not, you're just going to end up in a perpetual state of wishing. She said, you have to make a decision to make a change and then you have to schedule it. That way you're accountable to yourself for when things will get done. And when you do this, you can start going into motion. And this can apply to so many aspects of your life. Jamie said you need some type of drive and goal when you get up every day, that it's easier to be average than extraordinary. But she said you weren't put here to be average. You were made to be exceptional and you have purpose and you need to share that with others. Let's get into action items. Write down your list of goals and what you want to accomplish and what is holding you back the most. Fear set and surround yourself with people who understand those fears and know how to overcome them. And give yourself a deadline for these goals and drive that calendar. TPR Nation, just a couple more things. Don't miss out on our events this September. Be sure to get your tickets to the Retirement Tax Services Tax Summit and our Invictus Mastermind. Visit theperfectria.com. You can reach out to us to get signed up. That wraps up this week's recap. Thank you for joining me on today's Follow-Up Friday. Be sure to share this or any of our episodes with another advisor or team member who you think might benefit from listening. And until next time, happy planning.